What's going on, everybody? It's Glitch Agent here with another video. Today we're going to be playing some Dayz standalone on the PlayStation 4. We're playing the A5 server, and this is going to be a tutorial and instruction video on how to survive and what you need to know when you start the game. I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, please leave a like. And I hope this is able to help new players so that they're not so lost and they're not turned off to the game once the toxic people meet up with them and kill them over nothing but a pear, a bandage, and a glow stick. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Enjoy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find an area that is safe. When you start off on the coast, the first thing you want to do is look for an area that may be safe. You're going to look for a water source. When playing the game, there is an app that is sold on the iOS store as well as the Google Play Store that you will be able to purchase. It costs absolutely nothing. It's called iSurvive. And what it is it's a bunch of maps from Dayz Computer, which may have mods and different maps, but mostly the standalone. Now the standalone map is called Chernarus. Chernarus is the main map. There are other maps, one other map called Livonia that you can download and play. Livonia wasn't widely accepted into the Dayz community. It was a lot of rain and a lot of nothingness. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to head in this general direction, see if I can find a little house. If I can find a house in this instruction period, it will be a lot easier. And there we go. Now I have a saying for Dayz, which is called ask and thou shalt receive. Normally, if you ask something that's not totally outrageous, you'll find the thing that you're looking for the most. The reason I'm kind of running around here is I want to find somewhere safe. Let's see. So, once you find a well, you're going to want to fill up your thirst, because your thirst goes down before your hunger does. So let's get inside of this house here. Alright. There's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration once you start this once you start playing the game. The game is never easy. The game will always be hard. And once you start playing the game more frequently, you begin to get an idea. I'm actually going to go find a different house. Once you actually, that barn should work just fine while I do my tutorial video. And then I'll make my way down to the house for some later discussions. The next thing I'm going to go do is I'm going to break through the tutorial, because as much as nobody likes to enjoy reading, I'm just going to go ahead and break it down for you in layman's terms. So the other thing that's important is finding shelter. You want to find somewhere safe. Now I wouldn't say this is exactly a safe spot, but it is safe for the time being. If you press the pause menu on any server you go to, you'll have multiple options. Exit, options, invite friends, control, online, and tutorial. I'm just going to go out here and say this right off the bat. For those who start seeing the screen in a darker setting, unfortunately there is no graphics enhancer. You're not going to be able to... What is my field of view? Holy smoke-a-molies. I haven't done that in a minute. You'll be able to change your settings to different languages. Espanol, French, Italiano, Dutch, so German. I have no clue what the heck that is. That is Russian. Chinese, Japanese, Polish for some reason, Korean, Portuguese do Brazil, and default. So we'll just go ahead and put in Dutch, Sistina, Russian, Chinese, Japanese, Polish, Portuguese to Brazil, and we're going to just stick with the default. Yeah, there is no way to change your gamma or screen options, so unfortunately you're left with what you got. Do you want to save? No. Sure. Also, you have the online. Online is going to tell you who is online on that server. So right now, there's not a whole lot of anybody on the server. Controls, this is going to break down your standard controls, what your weapons are, vehicles, inventory, menu items. Invite friends. Let's say I have one of my friends. You click invite friends, and it just makes it easier for him to load in. Instead of having to load in, type in the server name, then jump in. Honestly, they could take up to 5 to 10 minutes before somebody even jumps in the game with you that you're waiting on. Exit. Once you press exit, there's a countdown timer. So don't think you're going to be able to jump out of the game right off the bat if you're in the middle of a fight, because it's not going to happen for you. So let's talk about the tutorials. On the health system tutorial, it's going to talk about what is in the bottom right hand screen. So as you see, we have hydration, calorie indicator. Calorie is just basically your hunger. Your thermal comfort indicator, which tells you when you're cold or when you're too hot. Your blood level indicator, and your health indicator. There's three main colors. There's white, yellow, and red. Red being that you are severely hungry, severely thirsty, you have major blood loss, or you may die. The other thing, as you see in the left-hand screen, or not left-hand screen, but as soon as you see the water indicator there that shows the bottle, you see one chevron going down. So that is to show decreasing tendency. And then if you go to the right where the calorie intake is, you see 3 chevrons facing down. Very strong decreasing tendency. When you start having that, that's from running or any activity in which your body is working more. Just like in real life, if you don't eat enough food and you go on a run, you're going to be hurting. The only difference is if your food and water start hitting the red, your health indicator starts to go down. Now with the health indicator, once it goes down far enough in red, it empties and it starts to flash. That's your warning to tell you that you are going to die if you don't hide from disease, get away from an enemy player, eat or drink something. It is mandatory that you do that, and you can always keep a constant eye on your water intake and your food intake. I tend to notice that the longer you stay alive in the game, the less food you have to eat and the less water you have to drink. Your body becomes used to it in the game. The blood level indicator. The blood level indicator determines how much blood your character is losing. If you go into the red blinking blood status, your health not only is going down, but your character may black out. The only way to bring your blood back up is to wait patiently, which could take a long time, or you find yourself in a saline bag, or you were smart at the beginning of the game and you got yourself a blood bag. Now a blood bag, if you have enough blood, your character will draw blood from himself if you have a blood bag kit, and you can save it for a quick, immediate blood level boost. Saline bags will raise the blood at a medium rate over time, as to where just walking around will slowly bring up your blood level. Thermal comfort indicator. So this one is a new, it's not really too new, but is a new indication system here on the game. Now the thermal comfort indicator, if it starts to go down far enough and it goes blue, gray as you see on the screen, yellow, and red. Red meaning you are too hot, you need to get off your clothes, you need to get away from the fire. Normally that's what it is starting a fire and being too close. Same thing with yellow, you are too close to the fire, step away, let your body go down in heat. Once you start going into the once you're back in the gray territory, you're fine, everything's good. The most common thing you're going to start off as a new spawn is you're going to be showing up in a t-shirt, a pair of shoes, and running pants. Or I'm sorry, gosh, I can't think of what the names are. Crop pants. Now, your character is very susceptible to the weather. If it's too cold and you don't take care of yourself, your player will get sick, and it can be hard to cure if you don't have tetracycline, which is the antibiotic, and cough medicine, which is codeine pills. If you don't have those, it's going to take you a while to get yourself fixed up. My best tip for if you do get sick is to go ahead and start a fire somewhere safe and hang out by that fire. It'll normally help you get back to feeling good. If you are cold, your character will catch a cold and your character will sneeze and cough, which could make it difficult when you're approaching an enemy base or there is enemies in the direct area around you, because they will hear it and know where to find you. So, from the gray it goes to blue and it starts making its way down. It'll start with shivers and then your character will get sick. If it goes down low enough, your character begins to lose life. It does seem to take a long time, and I will talk to you real quick about the insulation levels of clothing. If we go to the character items, as you can see, once you go and click on the plate carrier is going to tell you the level of the plate carrier, which will either be pristine, worn, damaged, badly damaged, or ruined. If it's ruined, your character can no longer use it. Your character will still wear the clothes, but the moment you take it off, you will not be able to place it back in, meaning you lose those carry spots. And we'll talk about carry spots later on in the game, or this video. But as you can see on the right hand side, it says about 16 kilograms. And on the bottom left hand corner, you see a little character squatting with a tiny little white bar. Now, if I take this off and I place it in my hands, place it on the ground in front of me, you notice that my little white bar is now shooting up. If I take my backpack off and place it on the ground, that little bar shoots back up. Now, the more weight you carry, the less stamina your character has. And the less stamina your character has, the less he can run. For example, for me to sprint to this door, as you can see, my character stops running after a short sprint, but that's because he's weighing too much. I will be able to sprint longer distances if maybe I wore, instead of that vest, I wore an assault vest, something lighter. But because your character probably has plates in those vests, your character is generally slower. And now to go to the shirt, same thing. As you can see, my shirt is worn. Once you get out of the pristine phase, your shirt, jacket, pants, whatever it is that you're wearing, can never go back to pristine. It will only go up to worn. As you can see on the right hand screen where it says about 12 kilograms, it says medium insulation. Now that's good. You want something with high insulation, especially if it's cold or raining. But medium insulation is probably the best to go. Medium insulation means that it does not weigh that much, and you can be able to put more stuff on and keep your stamina. Now the bottom left hand screen, just under where I am at right now, hopefully I can put a little sticker over it so you guys can see it. There's a little thread and needle, and there's a little hammer. Now, I don't know what that bar does anything. I don't think, honestly, it does a thing in this game. It's supposed to show, like, the fact that your character is either a workman or he's just like a sewer or some bullshit with clothes. Again, it honestly does nothing with this game. So, now we're going to go on to the next part of the tutorial. Melee weapons. A normal hit, you need to hold L2. So no matter what you're doing, if you plan on using a weapon, regardless, a Z, a player, let's say, like as you see that character is holding that axe, you have to hold the L2 as if you were aiming down the sight in, let's say, Call of Duty. You have to hold L2 and press R2, just like pulling the trigger when you're aiming down sight. For a heavy hit, you can hold L2 and triangle. Heavy hits are good, but they use up more stamina. Melee weapons are silent and don't need ammo, and always carry one. Many items can be used as melee weapons, and get creative. So, as you see on the ground, there's a shovel, a hatchet, a spade, a knife, a hammer, a pipe, looks like another knife, a sledgehammer, and the axe that he's holding. So, when you have a can of food, which is probably the best thing you can get to eat in this game, besides besides nothing, it's the best thing you can get in this game. Or, take that back, unless you kill an animal and you collect the steak. You can use different things to open the can. I don't believe you can use a shovel or a pipe, but you can use a hammer, an axe, a hatchet, a shovel, a spade, and a knife, or find a can opener. Now, depending on what you use, reflects on how much food you will get. So if I used a hammer, think about real life. You use a hammer to beat open a can of spaghetti, you're going to lose the juice. But if you use a can opener, you're not. Okay, I'm actually not doing bad on food, so I'm not going to show you waste any food right now. Most of these can be used. I would say the best melee weapon you can get in the game would have to be an axe. Now, those are found in fire stations and they can be found in sheds. There's two kinds of axes. There's a wood splitting axe and there's a fire axe, and that's exactly what he's holding. Knives are always good to carry as well. Minimal food loss, and they're used as melee weapons. With the new patch that came out, it started showing that now you can use a knife to knife enemy Z's or zombies in the back, and it kills them pretty much in 1 or 2 hits. Just remember though, the heavier the item, the more damage it can do, but it's the more weight and more stamina you use per swing. Next, we're going to go to the guns. Guns have the same exact feature, but multiple different areas. So, to fire a gun, you hold L2 and press R2. To use the iron sights, press R3. To switch to a scope, you hit right on the D-pad. Firearms have a variety of attachments, like scopes, silencers, and different types of magazines. Ammo is very scarce in Dayz. Make every shot count. Now, when playing on a modded server or community server, you don't have that issue so much. Most community servers will have 50 times loot or military spawn, so you will find those items. As you can see here, I am playing on a community server. So, for example, I have the VSD. The VSD is probably one of the better sniper rifles. It takes a 7.62 by 54R caliber, which is a good caliber in this game. It's just under 308. Currently, I have a sniper scope attached and a suppressor. There are 3 types of suppressors in this game. There is normalized suppressors, there are bottle suppressors, and then there is standard suppressor. Now, the easy way to think of it is there's 2 different kinds of weapons. You have Russian weapons, which are the AKs, Scorpions, so on and so forth. Now, the AKs, the VSD, they take normalized suppressors, whereas standard suppressors go on the M4s, M16s, and what else does it go on? I think that's just about it. There are guns in the game that are included with suppressors, such as the VSA or the VSS and the SVAL. The SVL is just a assault rifle version of the VSS sniper rifle. For those who don't know what the VSS sniper rifle is, unfortunately I don't have one on me. It's a sniper with a wooden scope with a built-in suppressor, so you can tell it's built in. When using the AK, oh, there we go. I do have an S-Val. This is the S-Val. The S-Val, as you can see, the barrel is kind of wonky. That's because that is a suppressor that will never go out, which uses 9x39 rounds. Personally, I know a lot of people that do not like this gun. However, I do when you use ammo-piercing rounds. It is the only gun in the game that does have ammo-piercing rounds. The best rifle that you will find in the game is hands down the LAR. The LAR can take multiple different sights. It takes 308 caliber rounds, which is the biggest round you can use in the game. Besides, no, it is the biggest. No, 357 is the biggest. But this is a 2-shot kill no matter where you go. Unfortunately, it doesn't take a suppressor. The only suppressor it will take is a bottle suppressor. To make a bottle suppressor, you need to have 1 water bottle and at least half a roll of tape. Don't have any bottles to spare. This is the pistol. There are many different kinds of pistols. Right now I'm rocking what they call the Deagle or the Desert Eagle. It's a 357 round or 357 caliber round pistol, and it's about a 1 to 2 shot kill on most Z's and players. AKs and M4s have rail systems that you can find. They're polymer rail systems. Not all of them have that though, so you have to keep your eye out for them. If you find one of those rail systems, you could add a flashlight to your weapon so that you'll be able to see better in the dark if you find a battery. And when you aim down sight, it makes things a little bit easier for you to see, but it makes it harder for the enemy to see. Next we have infected. Infected are vicious and will attack you on first sight. One is a problem, multiple are a death sentence. Infected are the best approached with stealth or one at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. What I can say is since the new update came out, they have changed that up a whole lot. So basically what it used to happen is if a Z saw you and alerted the other Zs around you, what would end up happening is your character would be swarmed by multiple Zs and they would not stop attacking you even when you black out. Because yes, if you get punched enough times, your character does black out. Now since the newest update, they've added different kinds of infected Zs, such as sprinters, heavy military, military officers, and heavy police officers. Now those Zs all have different kinds of functions where sprinters, no matter what you do, you will always be caught by a sprinter. Heavy military could take a few more bullets than what is expected. Officers have a loud enough screech to bring almost any Z around him to his general location faster than ever. And heavy police officers walk around in ballistic vests that make it hard for melee weapons to penetrate. With that being said, since the update, they also added something where now when your character gets beaten up by a bunch of zombies or Zs, your character blacks out and the Zs disperse. I do kind of like the fact they did that because they did upgrade a lot of their strengths and speed, and depending on which zombie is attacking you depends on the health that that zombie has, or depends on the health the zombie has. Yes. Sorry. Next, we have inventory. Within the vicinity corresponds to your surroundings. You can find loot here, but also makes complex objects with many require crafting additional components. Manual skill meter focuses on precision and strength. Again, I haven't seen that. The stamina indicator is what we've gone through. Hands. If you want to use or combine and consume items, always put it in your hands first. I will open a can of food to show you. Almost all clothes and other gear have cargo capacity, which can be used to carry items. And then as you look up above, it says equipment. All equipped clothes, weapons, and other items can be listed up here. So, as you can see, I have a VSD on my back, and I keep my M16 on my back, as well as all of these items here. When you're carrying the plate carrier, as you can see, the plate carrier has a couple different items. Those little numbers indicate the spaces that will be used inside. So if I didn't have these grenades on my chest, this would equal 4 pounds. Think about it like that. Or 4 kilograms, however you want to think. Now, if you look down, it says pouches, 24 out of 24. So my canteen weighs 4 spots. If I take the canteen out, though, you now see that I am 20 out of 24. Again, the canteen number has 4. Right, and now it's back. You can carry a lot of things in different pouches if you can find it. The assault vest holds 30, and you can attach a butt pouch, which adds an additional 30 slots. Well, let's see what we got here. I keep all my magazines in that one. That's a sailing bag. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is food. So, when you find yourself a can of food and you have a knife or a can opener or anything really, you go ahead and equip the can of food. Then what you do is you scroll over the knife. Now, as you see in the bottom of the screen, it says press X to hand/swap, hold X to drop, hold X to move, hold L3 to quick slot, which I will show you how to quick slot, and circle to combine. So you're going to press circle. You'll see something on the screen that says combat knife, and hold R2 to open can. So what you do is you hold R2 to open the can, your character begins to open the can of food. Now because you had the can already equipped, the food is still in your hand. While you're drinking or eating, you're able to move around. You're not able to sprint though. Your character can take a knee and walk and eat, but your character cannot lay down and eat. So, now what I'm going to show you guys is the hot equip bar. So let's say I want to how do you equip the VSD? First things first is you have to put it in your hands. Now you go to and hold L3, and as you can see, I have multiple weapons up. So we're just going to replace the VSD. Bam. The VSD is now replaced. So, let's say you are just running around, you have no weapons in your hand, and you have an enemy that's chasing you. What you do is you press and hold R1, use the right thumbstick to flick to whatever gun you want. You don't have to hold it. You can flick it and move. That way your character's still moving around. Once you land on the weapon that you want, you press X, and you let go of R1. Now you have the gun. And if you want to place your gun back, you can either pick a different weapon if you need a different weapon, or you can just click on the same weapon and it'll place the weapon back where it was. Most servers need to be shut down once a day. Most community servers are shut down every hour or every other hour. The reason that they do that is so that any excess loot that might be on the ground from players dropping it, any dead bodies, it basically resets all that and gets rid of them. Because the more that you do have of that going around on the server, the less space you will have on the server. The more less space you have on your server RAM, basically what ends up happening is that your game starts to crash. Now, Dayz is infamous for blue screens. You don't have that too much in community servers because, again, the servers reset so frequently. But don't be mad if a blue screen does happen, because what happens when a blue screen happens, I don't know what Xbox's version would be called, but a blue screen basically just is saying that, hey, we have an error with the game. It happens a lot. If you blue screen, your character will go 7 seconds and then despawn. So if you're in a safe place for those 7 seconds, you're okay. The thing I like to do is when I do play with my friends, I will make an announcement basically that, hey, my character blue screen. My character's blue screen. Can you watch my back? Most of the time, if you're not a jerk, your friends can do that for you. Excuse me, I'm eating a yogurt real quick while the game loads in. Okay, there we go. So, back to the hot equip. Go ahead and press X to place my weapon back in its holster. And that's that. The other thing that's in this game is when you hold right on the D-pad, let's say you're not too friendly with mics. You can go and click on any one of these to do it. Now, if you are in a spawn location when you first start, and let's say all you find is a kitchen knife, but your buddy is in Cherno, and you're in Electro, but you don't want to run there. You just want to find a way to quickly get there, or hopefully try to get there. What you can do is go ahead, go to Miscellaneous with the knife equipped, or whatever weapon you can find, and click Suicide. Once you click this button, your character is now ready to commit suicide. I'm not going to do it for the purpose of I'm already too geared. Here, I will show you this. So, to unload or load around inside of your weapon, you double tap triangle. So I'm going to show you what it would look like if, let's say, I were to try to commit suicide. So you go to collect suicide. As you can see, the little 0 indicates how many rounds are inside. I have none. As you can see, my character is in the suicide position, and you would hit R trigger. Now, my character didn't do it because my character didn't have a round. There we go. As you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, it says the weapon that I have, semi-automatic mode. You hit left on the D-pad to change the mode to fully automatic or semi. When you're aiming down sight, you can press up on the D-pad, which changes your range. Most rifles will go to at least 500 yards. And like I said, left on the D-pad changes full auto to semi, semi to auto. Some weapons do have a 3-round burst, such as the M16. The M16, from semi to burst, there is no fully automatic on it. Oh gosh. There we go. And there we go. When you start the game, you might have rags that aren't in pristine conditions, such as these ones. They might look a little dirty. The way to get around that is you find yourself some iodine, and it'll say disinfect. So you can hold R2 to disinfect those rags if they are dirty, to make sure that you do not get an infection and get sick. And yes, infections and illnesses are real things in this game and are not to be taken lightly. If you eat a human steak, your character will start losing his mind and start laughing every 5 to 10 seconds. It's incredibly annoying. There is no cure for that. The only cure is to kill yourself, or to be killed. There is the flu, the common cold, and food poisoning, as well as dysentery. Dysentery can come from drinking bad water. If you find a water bottle or you find a canteen that has any water, the best thing you can do is pour out that canteen and or water bottle or whatever source of water you have, dump it and go fill it back up at a water pump. Because like I said, you will get sick. Once you get dysentery, it's hard to cure. Your character will throw up after eating almost anything and drinking anything. To show you, the easiest way to do it with food and drink is to only let your character drink a quarter of its drink. So as you can see, a quarter. Now if you have dysentery or the flu, your character won't throw it up. And you can do that all the way till you get healed up. What do we have? Okay. So for gloves, shoes, and vests, you're going to need a leather sewing kit. Now a leather sewing kit allows you to, looks like, oh, that's good. A leather sewing kit will fix those items. Now a hand sewing kit will fix most hats, face coverings, pants, and shirts. With a bandana, if you are bleeding and you have a bandana, you are able to use the bandana, if you have it equipped, and use it as a rag. The way I keep my character feeling good is by popping multivitamins every once in a while. If you find multivitamins, your character has a less chance of getting sick. As you can see in the bottom right hand corner now, I have a little icon that shows a little pill, basically saying that I did take some form of medicine. The other thing, as you can see, is the blue indicator showing that my insulation has gone up. Now the way that you can stop from getting cold is by taking shelter in somewhere that is warm and or hiding behind the buildings against which way the wind's blowing. You're not going to get an accurate depiction of which way is the wind blowing, but if you pay close enough attention to the leaves, you'll notice that, okay, the wind is blowing from left to right, or north to south, or east to west. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to get warm. Let's say you start the game and your character is raining. You'll have a little wet icon next to him. So the best way to do that is your character is able to wring out his clothes to get rid of the wetness and make it from wet to damp. What I'm going to show you is how to build a fire. So, first things first, you want to find a house. Now this house is not ideal for me. I like 2-story houses that have a chimney on top, or houses that are low. I believe it's just the wood cabin that does it. And with that wood cabin, there's like a living room and then a bedroom that your character can go into. So, if you don't have matches or a lighter, you're going to need 2 pieces of bark and at least 1 short stick. You can use other sticks to fill up the fire. So what I'm going to do is I press triangle to split that item, which means that if I'm holding 2 of them, one goes into my inventory and the other one does not. I'm going to place one of those in. In fact, I'm going to grab one more piece. I'm going to grab some more short sticks real quick. Actually, that little bush right there is really good to cut down. Get more stuff out of it. The bigger the bush is, the better product you're going to yield. So I should be able to get a log stick and maybe a log. There we go. I got 2 logs and a log stick. Now with logs you can't double stack the items, so you have to carry one by one, or you have to have enough room in your inventory to carry multiple logs. I do not have any room in my inventory, so I will have to do just 1 log for the time being. Now when you hold something in your hand, you would go and look at the item and it should say place. If not, you can always hit the inventory or the touchpad, which brings you to this screen. So what you need to start a fire if you do not have matches or a lighter or a flare is you need 1 short stick and 1 piece of bark. Now as you can see, it says next recipe or hold to craft whatever the recipe is. I am not creating a fireplace because there's already a fireplace in here, so I tap R1 or R2. Now it says craft hand drill kit. Seeing how that's what we're going for, I'm going to craft it. Now the hand bow kits are a 1-time use only thing. Once you craft it, you're going to have to pick it up off the floor, and as you see it says ignite and hold. Most of the time if you do it in an actual fireplace, you will see that it starts to flame, kind of like you see that flame at the bottom right there of the furnace. That flame ends up heating up and you have a fire. Now, I'm not sure if this gets you warm or not. I'm pretty sure it does. But the longer you stand next to the fire, your clothes will start to get dry, your backpack will get dry, your vest will get dry, everything will get dry for you. The good thing about this is that over time, once your clothes gets dry, your character finally starts to build up heat. Now once your character builds up heat, there is a heat buff bonus. Now the heat buff bonus means that I will be able to walk outside for a certain amount of time before the weather actually takes a hold of me. Other ways to give yourself a somewhat kind of heat bonus is to make yourself some steak by killing a wild animal, cooking it on the fireplace, and then placing it in your pants pocket. If you look here, there's a smoking section. Oh, let's go over here. As you can see, there's a smoking section and a cooking section. Now, with the cooking section, you feed half and half. So your hydration will go up, also your food will go up. When you smoke it, your hydration goes down, but your food goes way up. When you start a fire, you're going to need certain things. You're going to need certain types of kindling. Now, kindling can be rags. It could be cloth or bandages. I'm sorry, a piece of paper, which you get from unloading ammo and you can find all over the place, or bark. I personally use bark because I don't really find matches that often anymore in the servers that I do play, so I just make build bow drill kits, and I cut 2 pieces of bark instead of 1. You always need a piece of kindling, and you need enough fuel to last you. So 1 log is not going to sustain you on a full cooking term for a meal. So you want to try to get that as stocked as you possibly can, but only know that your fire can hold only 10 short sticks, and 6 logs for a max. Let's see. What else? What other to go over? Oh. When you double click down on the D-pad, you see the little mic. Now, if anybody was in the surrounding area, a name on a little gray plate would pop up with that character's username. That character's username within a certain distance can hear you or your company talking. what I like to do is when I play with my friends, I like to start a party on the PlayStation Now network. That way nobody else can hear me. You can also, instead of double tapping it, which makes it always on, you can just, well, and you also double tap to turn it off, you can just hold down on the D-pad, and when you're done talking, let go, and your mic goes away. Let's see, what else we got? So far we've got over food, drink, weapons, gear, illnesses, fire. Always carry water. You're always going to need water. Water will be the first thing, water will be one of the first things you always need. Same thing with food. Is there anything else in the tutorials? Loot. Always search every place for valuable loot. It can be the difference between life and death, which is true. Generally, the best things you can get in this game for food purposes is canned bacon. The best thing you can get for drink purposes would be Mad Monk, which is like an alcoholic beer in the game. It does not affect you, though. Or a canteen. The canteen holds a lot of water. There are hundreds of types of items, from weapons to food to clothes and crafting material. Now, crafting material, there are certain clothes that you can craft and bags that you can craft out of things that you just naturally find. If you kill an animal, you can use their hide and epoxy to make yourself a camelback, or a little water bladder that your character can carry around. There's also different kinds of shelters that your character can carry around. Unfortunately, I don't have any rope to show you what kind of different shelters, but there are improvised shelters. Now, an improvised shelter will not protect you from all the elements, but it will stop from the rain, and it will keep you somewhat decently warm. You can make an improvised shelter out of sticks, or you can make it out of oh gosh, what was it? Or you can make it out of a tarp. You need, I believe it's 3 tarps to make an improvised shelter, and to do that you'll need wood. Now, with that being said, that's basically all the things you need to know while starting. Just remember that people aren't always your friends. There are people in here, called bandits, that will try to meet up with you and try to help you. Doesn't mean that they're actually there to help you. What they will do is they will help you, and you will help them get something that they want, and you might end up turning out to be pretty geared, and that person turn around and shoot you. So always take it with a grain of salt, because you will always need help. Again, for a while, before I learned about the I Survive app on the iOS and Android store, I was using a compass. The best thing you can do is get used to using a compass. Compasses will help you find which direction you are, and once you start going around the map, it takes a little bit of time, but you will start learning the names. Now, the names in this town, or in this area, are all in Russian. But as you see here, you will hear people say kind of weird names. So if I said Nobia, my friend would look it up. He'd just type it how he thinks it's spelled, N-O-B-E-A-A. On the app, it'll pull up the actual name of the area, because it knows that you're typing English, but really it's Russian. It'll type it in, and you'll be able to find your location. There's different things you can use on the app. Eventually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video explaining how the app works, and so on and so forth. Okay, there's another M16 and an SKS. So let's go kill us some Z's real quick, huh? I could use another box of 3. No, I don't do that. And would you look at that, another LAR. You know what, we're going to use the LAR first. When you pick up a gun, always make sure there is a round inside of the gun, because I've had it happen so many times before where I've gone to shoot a player or shoot a Z, and the only sound my gun makes is click. And there's no worse sound than a click sound. Oh, right here is the VSS, which is the sniper rifle version of the SVAL. It's a decent gun, especially when taking out Zs. here's a field vest. Now the field vest looks a little bit different, and it has different abilities. So as to where the plate carrier has more protection, this does not, but it allows me to carry 6 more carry spots on my on my person. As you can see, it also brought up my stamina a little bit. When I switch back over, the stamina goes down. Canned bacon, I need that. And there's an M4 on the ground, I don't need that. So let's get some Z's. As you can see, I can choose to use the scope, or I can hip fire. Also, as you can see, the LAR is one of the more stronger rifles, which means that it takes less shots to kill them, making your ammo all that much more valuable. On the bottom right hand screen, you now see that I am cut, and if you look at my blood loss, you'll also see that my blood loss is starting to happen. So what I would do, I normally don't use my saline bag, but for the case of this video I will go ahead and use it. I'll use a bandage to bandage myself. Oh, I actually have another saline kit, so I'm not too worried about it. So then I would go over a saline kit. Let's say I'm yellow or red, and I would go ahead and hold R1, which will show a little pill icon on the bottom right hand screen, like so. And as you see, my character is A, being filled up with fluid because it is a saline bag, and B, it is starting to raise my blood level up. With that being said, people, I believe that's just about it for as far as I can survive, or as far as you guys need to get started with the game. The number one thing about the... Oh my god. That son of a gun. Just remember, when you start playing the game, you are going to die quite frequently. But with the steps that I've given you on how to survive a little bit, you should be able to get pretty good. Now, I didn't have anybody helping me from the game. In fact, I was asking people to, but when this game hit, as soon as I got the game, it was brand new to the PlayStation scene, and people were generally nice to each other. You would be walking around, and you would run into people, and you would have great conversations. This game is a great game to meet other people from different areas of different ways of living. I personally live here in the United States, in California, and since I've started playing this game, I've made friends in Germany that I've played games with and I talk to. I've made friends in England that I talk to almost on a daily basis. And we just share stories. And that's how it was when I started. However, the PC community said, no, 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 no. You guys aren't toxic enough. That's not how this game was meant to be played. And now it's kind of shoot on sight. You can still run into people. The other thing I would say to check out is check out any Discords. Type in Dayz and see what kind of Discords you get, because there are PC Discords and there's also PlayStation and Xbox standalones with different servers. Different servers with different things, such as this one is more of a PvP survival, as to where there's another server known as Conquest that does quite well. Conquest is a player versus player. There are no Z's in the game. And it is the Russians versus the United Nations or United States military, and they are only allowed to use certain guns, and they have to wear a certain camo, and it's actually a whole lot of fun. You can meet new people. Sometimes they act up, sometimes they like to take things a little too far and act like it's in the military. Now, the game is based off of a mod from Arma 3, and Arma 3 is a military simulated game, so people do like this game for that reason. If you're looking for other games like this game, you can check out Rust. Rust seems to be a new game that's hitting the consoles pretty good. It's getting good reviews along the board. And and you can find other games like this. This personally is my favorite game over Rust. I play a lot of it. It's good fun. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's just about it. Like I said, I walked you through the tutorial. I gave you my input, taught you guys different things, as well as talked about Dayz. If there are any questions that you guys do have that isn't specifically talked about during this video, please go ahead and leave me a comment. I'll read the comment and I'll try to make a video later on about it. There are a couple videos I do want to do, one of which is going to be main PvP areas for Dayz. One is different locations on the map of Dayz, really points of interest, the military areas of the Dayz, and building. I think I already said building, but yeah, building. Oh, and hunting and different animals and whatnot. So like I said, guys, please leave me a comment if you think of something that I didn't cover during this video, in which case I'll either respond back with another comment to that comment, or I will make a video about it if I get enough people that are interested. So thank you guys again for watching my video. Leave a like, subscribe. I muchly appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.